Yeah, I'm Enruche. That is my name, and I'm grateful by you inviting me here.
Thank you. You know, there's something by there before we start. I've seen people seem to be liking your interviews, and they wanted to know whether you're having a political ambition.
No, I don't have any political ambition, but you know, these things, they just come. If it will, we'll communicate. But for now, no.
So I guess for now the best word to use is it political analyst or what do we say?
I'm just giving observations. I'm making observations in Kenya and I'm giving opinions.
Thank you. Now straight to what the topic that people are currently it's all over the place, social media, people are having it even out there in the streets. The issue of Finance Bill 2023. Now today the Parliament has resumed. What is your general view? What can you say about it? From here.
The controversial Finance Bill is a hot topic in the country, Kenya, at the moment. I saw even members of Parliament every corner, in funerals, in gatherings, in functions, fundraisings, the topic in churches. They're talking annually. The debate is about the Finance Bill 2023. Even I saw members of Parliament as they open Parliament today, and they like to join Parliament tomorrow. Over the same discussion, there is that anxiety. So I feel like it's a topic that Kenyans need to peruse into details to get facts right before it is being tabled in Parliament. That's what I'm saying.
All right. There are speculations in town and in the country that is, people are saying that if Finance Bill wanaona ni kama imepita. And looking even to some of the leaders from the Azimio side, we have the Nairobi women rep Esther Passaris was today quoting saying that housing is key for me. The government could maybe reduce the amount they want to tax because some people are complaining that they don't have the pay slip. But I want someone earning 10,000 to understand that only 300 will be deducted from their pay slip. Now, people seem to okay. What first is your opinion on that?
Esther Passaris is a politician who survives, who is an opportunist. That's what I can say all the time. If you look at her, whatever she's talking about, she's talking basically about the housing, the 3%. If someone is earning 10,000, you do the 10% of it is 300 shillings. So he's saying that is not much because she lives in Runda, she lives in Kareni. She doesn't understand that the 300 shillings we are talking about is what makes a hustler move. In fact, she should not narrow the debate to house levy. There is a lot of details in the bill. It's about 121 bills, but people have narrowed this discussion to a house levy. So I don't think if Esther Passaris as a leader can come out to the public and say that it's just only 300 shillings. 300 shillings is what makes a hustler in the slum survive. And that's what we need to be careful about. And on top, Esther Passaris, me, as I understand her, this particular point, she's looking for survival. Perhaps there is an engagement from Kenya Kwanza, because Esther Passaris, she's a woman rep in the ticket of Azimio. This is her second term in the office as a woman rep in Nairobi. Maybe there are negotiations in Kenya Kwanza for her future political survival. All along, Passaris has got no support in Nairobi. It's all about Odinga, Baba making Passaris survive. So her sentiments does not change the fact as we are talking about. But if she wants to please the Kenya Kwanza team, well, but we remain steadfast, we remain to the course that the bill is irrelevant, not timely, and the majority of the Kenyan people are against it.
All right, thank you. Maybe just from where you sit, do you think that, because one of the key things that has really raised concern about the finance bill is the 3% house levy, do you think that maybe the diversion has changed now from focusing on the other parts of the bill, and now everybody is now talking about the 3% financial bill. So probably from where you sit, you think that the 3% may be corrected, but now the remaining part just be passed.
Have they said that they are going to correct the 3%? They are not. The focus from Kenya Kwanza government is 3%. The 3%. They don't discuss the details of the other bills. They are focusing on the 3% because that is the ground they are using to explain how majority of the young people will secure jobs if the bill goes through, the 3%, if it goes through. But that is politics. I repeatedly ask people, which jobs are we talking about? Are we talking about construction jobs related to masonry? Are we talking about cases of Ibarua? That's why they narrowed the discussion to 3% levy, because that's where many civil servants will raise funds, will be deducted funds from, so that Kenya Kwanza can run the government. But I don't see, or I don't think that the 3% is really truly meant for house levy. It's all about the business of UDA to just meet their expectations, but not necessarily the housing.
Okay, now still on the housing, as you wind up about the whole housing and thing, you know, if the bill passes, perhaps, let's say in that context, and the president is able to, the government is able to have the houses constructed, from the bill it's saying that it is going to reduce the monthly rental income from 10% to at least 7%, 7.5% thereabout. So that will reduce the cost of rent, and which in turn will reduce the cost of living. Don't you think that's a positive impact?
Now look at the whole thing about Kenya Kwanza government, about the affordable housing. Here we are talking about owning a house. It's not about reducing the rents or what. The issue is, we are entering into an agreement with the Kenya Kwanza government. We don't have papers. You know, the contentious issue here we are discussing about is we don't have an agreement with the government. How you own this house? When are you going to own the house? Understand that the president can get, Ruto might not be re-elected. He will not be re-elected, and they have the same agenda as we are talking about. Which is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that this thing will work out? Have you made an agreement with the government that after you get deducted 3%, you are going to own houses? Is there any legal agreement that this is the way, if you are deducted 3% or you contribute 3%, you are going to own a house? It's just a theory that is spoken outside here for us to just accept the bill, which is not practical legally. It's not even binding. So you just leave, you wake up tomorrow, next month, next year, 5 years, 7 years that you are going to own a house, and you are not into an agreement just by contributing 3%. So we have no proper structures to believe or trust the government that if that is the course we are going, that my 3% deduction will do the right thing as promised. It's just a campaign that is done on the streets. People told that 3% you'll just earn a house. You'll just afford to have a house. So we are not talking about deductions of rents to 7.5% if the government caters for 3%. The hope Kenyans are given is about owning a house. But what we believe in about owning houses is all about, are you into agreement that I've released in my 300 shillings, my 1,200 shillings, my 2,500 shillings, nikiendelea kulipa hivi ikifika to this period, I have owned the house. We don't have those paperwork. We don't have those agreements. Ni kitu inafanyika kwa street and we just believe in that. That's why we cannot trust the process.
Maybe just to get it clear from you, and also I've seen some of the audience, someone here is asking for you to clarify to people watching. Now, we've seen previous governments, even the opposition was promising affordable housing if elected in that particular case. Now, the other day on TV, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Gladys Sholei, was that saying that there's a danger that Kenya is becoming one big slum. And so, because the population rate is growing, and it comes a time where we need to have tough decisions made. So when are we going to do this?
Why can't we do the same tough decisions when we are talking about the cost of hunger? Why can't we do tough decisions when we are talking about the cost of living? Is it at the time that we need to make tough decisions once we are addressing the issue of the 3% reduction from people, from civil servants? So why do we narrow the discussion that we must make tough decisions? That one I'm answering Gladys Sholei direct. That in Kenya, housing is not a priority. Even if we talk about these slums we are talking about, here there is Umoja, there is a Kayole, there is a Kibra. There's people have never come out to protest that they live in slums or they don't have houses. But we have seen people coming out protesting about hunger. Let the government first address the issue of hunger, then house will be second option. It's not urgent. And by answering that question about, we had Raila Odinga speak about affordable housing, Uhuru Kenyatta, other governments zimetoka hapo nyuma. Ndio, Uhuru never took this issue of housing that very, very serious because he knew priorities were there. Ruto is taking this issue very serious as if people were already fed up with food. They don't starve. We are okay. We are not suffering. In this government, there is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. Issue of food, cost of living is key, very fundamental. Before we talk about it.
Maybe just to get it clear for me, do you have a problem with, is it the taxing or the Kenyans getting a house? Where exactly is the issue?
The issue is we don't trust government. Considering the previous promises given, we haven't seen even one promise that Kenya Kwanza promised or gave to the Kenyan people that has been implemented. So housing is a very serious thing because you are just talking about people's money, deducting the hustlers, the civil servants, and we can't trust if we give you this money, you are going to do the right thing with it. The government has not even demonstrated with the current taxes that we give. Is out of the current taxes we are talking about, the government increased the budget in the office of the president. You agree? Is out of the current taxes, the budget increased in the house of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. Is in the same taxes we are talking about, the office of Musalia Mudavadi, the super CS, as you put it, her spouse, na wengine, with the current taxes. So Kenyans are feeling their taxes, the current taxes, are not doing the right thing. They are not doing the right thing. And that's why these additional taxes, or these additional contributions, how can we trust that if we give, is going to do the right thing? Look at it. The same current taxes. In Uhuru Kenyatta's government, you saw Uhuru Kenyatta appointing 26 CAS. Ruto, the current president, appointed 50 of them in this midst crisis of the cost of living with the current taxes we give as Kenyans. If he was considerate enough, he could have even managed only the same 26 CSs or reduce. Instead, he did the worse. That's why we cannot trust if you add these taxes.
Okay. If you can look backward, President William Ruto said that he want to create job opportunities for the youths. And by adding the officers, we have officers of the spouses and whatever. And again, he said that he will create job. So that's some of the people saying that he came up with this idea of building and houses ili wale wenye the unskilled wapate kazi. Nana, So I don't know what's your take on that, because President William Ruto, according to him, he seems that it's creating job opportunities for the Kenyans.
But I'm asking a very simple very simple question also to your end. We have this is the office of the president. The president created positions that are not in the constitution. If they were there, the 50 of them. So if you say he's creating jobs, so far there's 50 CS when you nimetoka kuongelea about some minutes ago.
Yeah.
That is creation of jobs. Lakini you had the net worth of each CAS. No single CAS is below 50 million net worth.
Okay.
Are those the jobs you mean to tell the Kenyan people that Ruto created jobs for this? Musalia Mudavadi himself said his net worth is 4 billion. Yeah. The spouse's office was created. That your taxes goes to that office. And such, mpaka vehicles zenye zinakuwa fueled. Kuna wafanyikazi kwa hizo maofisi wanaingia huko. Hii ofisi ya the spouse of Musalia Mudavadi, those our taxes goes to that office of Musalia Mudavadi in the benefit of the spouse and such. So someone with 4 billion, you also add the job to the wife or to the spouse. That's where you are focused to. You know, Kenyans have eyes and they're seeing. That's what we cannot trust.
Okay, what we can just say that with you don't have problem with the jobs with President William Ruto is creating.
How do you gain?
But you have the problem with the amount of the money they are being paid there.
How do you gain if you tell people that hustlers are going to get jobs? Are these jobs sustainable? That's where our major concern is as Kenyans. Why? Kazi ya mjengo ukienda kufanya building A, building B, ikiisha, where do you go next?
Yes, according to President William Ruto's plan, the affordable housing, he said that this plan will go for around 5-10 years.
So 5-10 years kazi ishe. So this is not sustainable. That's why we are saying they need to be more structured than what they are just talking about. Let them not use this ground of 3% to convince people because they need the bill bus.
Okay.
The great objective is show us the sustainability of these young people.
Okay, then let us assume that you are the President William Ruto's advisor. What could you advise him to do according to the creating job opportunities to the as he promised?
Let me tell you one thing. Where the president got lost from the word go, he thought, you know, this position of being the position of a president is a very serious position. You need consultation. Because if you start on your mark, you get ready, you go. Utafika hapo katikati, upotelee hapo. Kama now, hii 3%, suppose watu wamekataa, ukiuforce watu waende kulipa hiyo 3%. Your objective, you miss it, missed. It means your project imefanya nini? Imeishia katikati. Because you didn't have proper structures. Secondly, unite the nation first, so that you can cool down the political temperatures across the country. There is also about 75% of Kenyans are rebelling against. They are against this the 3% levy, about the whole thing about the finance bill. They are against it. Now that's why the government is forcing it, because they need to get money forcefully from people. Meaning it's not generally accepted by the people of Kenya. So, if the president could have cooled down the political temperatures, that's smart consultations from this other political class. Odinga, you cannot just assume Odinga. You assume Uhuru Kenyatta. You assume Akina Kalonzo Musyoka. Call the team at large. Discuss about the objective, where Kenya is going. People will give their input, their contribution towards the agenda. But if you say eti sisi tuko pande hii na wale wako pande ile tunajua wana oppose, unaanza kununua wabunge, already hiyo kitu imetake in division. There is also the public understanding through the sentiments of Gachagua that we have Kenya Limited, we have also the Republic of Kenya, those with the shares and those without shares. So other Kenyans are feeling like, if I don't have shares in Kenya Kwanza, why should I contribute my money? Why should I be told to pay and I'm not paying? And what will be the order for you to be given a house? Which criteria will it be used for you to have a house? We have not been told. This is the reckless way things might be done, the way tuliingia kwa huduma namba. Pesa ikapotea and nobody is speaking. That's why when we are told as Kenyans, because we are the taxpayers, there is a need for proper public participation. People to be informed. What is this? Which criteria will you issue these hustlers with the houses? Which is the guarantee about this? It should not be politicized.
Okay, and then I ask you a simple question. For example, let us assume you are President William Ruto's advisor on what he should do. What can you advise him to do?
So by now, as at now, to drop the finance bill in totality. Should we focus first? The timing of the finance bill is wrong. It's a good thing, but wrong timing. I drop completely. I focus on the cost of living. Then I cool down the political temperatures in the country. I publish the advisors in his office and immediately focus on how to improve the lives of Kenyans in terms of food, school fees. Those are the most urgent things because parents are suffering. He promised the hustlers that he will change their lives. Instead, he's seeking money from hustlers. So he's creating a double problem. Let him go back to the drawing board.
Okay, Mr. Enruche, we have some of our viewers here. They don't understand how President William Ruto is getting money from the hustlers.
I've said, imposing taxes, forcing the bill, the finance bill, you are fetching money from people. In other way around, let me tell you something many people don't understand, and this is very important. When you say that there is a finance bill yenye itaenda kuingia kwa wananchi, are you getting me?
Yes.
There is a finance bill yenye itaingia kwa wananchi. Sasa hii unajua mnapembelezwa. Kuna kupembelezwa eti hii kitu itabadilisha maisha ya wananchi, ya mahasla, itafanya hivi. Mkiingia box, the moment mmeingia kwa box, na reinforcement ifanywe, eti sasa anza kulipa hiyo pesa, is when the reality will hit many Kenyans. Sasa hii kuna kupembelezwa sababu ikiingia kama sheria, you'll just confirm that. It's not easy. Hapo wakati utakuja kuona kanjo wanazunguka na maaskari wanasema hujalipa ushuru, funga duka, fanya nini? Harassments everywhere. Sababu ni sheria inasema. Sasa itakuwa mambo na Ruto. Itakuwa ni sheria yetu ya katiba inasema. That's why we must be cautious. We have about 121 bills. But the focus is about the house levy. Kuna details in that bill. Kenyans needs to be informed properly before tuanze kuona madrama za MPs wakienda kuzunguka pale. There is a need for doing that.
Alright, thank you so much. Just in case you're joining us, we're live here from our studio, and your feedback will be very much appreciated. The topic today, we're having just a general look at the Finance Bill 2023 that everyone is now talking about in the country, in the streets, on the social media. The topic is Finance Bill 2023. We're having our guest, Enruche, and he's trying to explain. If you have a question that you need to understand, or maybe a concern or an opinion, you can share your views through the comment section. Make sure you like this live and subscribe if you've not subscribed. Okay, as we continue away from the housing levy and employment, there's one positive thing that I've seen in the financial bill, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
There's this that is saying that the removal of 8%, there's going to be removal of 8% VAT on tax. And therefore that will means that the cost of Kenyans having to refill their gases, fuel, that is the cylinders, you'll have to go down. Don't you think it's a good move by the government?
Let me tell you, and this is the most important line Kenyans need to understand. The greater picture in this bill is about lazima uambiwe venye unasema eti kutakuwa na hiyo deduction ya 8% specifically on that line yenye umemention. The issue is the greater advantage to this bill. Does it favor the ordinary citizens or it affects the ordinary citizens. We said, let the review be made, right? Watu wakiparticipate, kuna some bills pale zinafaa kuondolewa. Unaona kama sasa hivi venye tunazungumza hivi, ndio umeondoa the 8% you are talking about at the cost of fuel, gas cylinders, gas itself itakuwa at a cheaper rate and as such. Ukiingia kwa upande ya matatu sector, transport, who benefits from matatu sector? Is the hustlers. Ndio wanapanda hiyo gari. Ile gari mwenye amenunua nao, zile viti ziko pale ndani, ni hustlers wanakaa ndani. Ile kiti moja italipiwa shilingi 100. So gari itakuwa allowed kulipa karibu shilingi 6,000, 8,000 zinaenda to the government, zinakatwa to the government. Nani atalipa hiyo pesa? Unafikia ni tajiri ya gari? Ni yule hustler, utaambiwa fare imepanda. Ndio ile kiti katwe pesa kutoka pale. Kama unatoka Umoja to town, you used to go with 70 shillings, it will be 150. Ndiposa ulipie ile kiti, government imekata ushuru. Then umereduciwa mambo ya gas cylinders. How many times do you go to Nairobi town for work? How many times hustlers go to Industrial? How many people who comes from Nairobi, who goes to Thika from Nairobi? There are very many who uses these seats in the matatu. So pandei umekatiwa mambo ya gas, the 8% you are talking about. Pandei ingine tena umenyanyazwa kwa matatu. That's why we are saying there is no reality in this thing. That's why we said tungepatiwa enough time tuone zile bills zenye si mzuri ziondolewa. There is no emergency in this. It can wait.
So I think that we're saying that there is no public participation in this matter.
This was this something that Kenyans were lied to. Yani something, how can I just put it? Ni kitu imeletwa kufumbaza tu watu. Hawa magrupu wenye wameenda pale karibu 180, about 210 wamesubmit their views. Although okay, about 75% of them wamesema hiyo kitu itolewe. About 10% or so 15% wamesema iko sawa. So if at all this public participation was genuine, why can't the government buy it once? They say no, we have withdrawn it. There's no need even it should be discussed in parliament, because already from the people, tumeona 75% wamedecline. If they are genuine, but instead they are saying tunataka kwenda kuangalia mpaka yule mbunge mwenye atapiga kura, na kama hatapiga kura atapata maendeleo. Those are threats. Those are intimidations. There is also blackmail, because you want the bill pass so that you can achieve what you want. If KK government is genuine in this, hii public participation peke yake yenye imefanyika, already tumeona the percentage yenye imedecline. Wangeifuata tu peke yake to make the decision. What Kenyans are saying.
Right, someone here is saying ask Enruche, because in the finance bill he's saying that hashtag the finance bill 2023 there was proposal to lower the cost of producing that is amesema mbolea, producing mbolea, and that is basically, I think he's talking about the resources,
the mbolea,
the raw materials for agriculture, and maybe in his opinion he thinks that that is going to improve the productivity, or rather the production, which will later on increase food production in the country. And
you see, that's why I said if the review was to be made, so that we look at those bills that are sensitive, that are genuine. You know, only I'm saying that the KK government is hiding on such things like the fertilizer you're talking about, to lower this mambo ya fertilizer, the seeds and such. But the bigger objective in them, they are targeting the 3% housing. That's why that debate imekuwa hot. That's why Esther Passaris was categorical about the housing and never cared about the other bills as we are talking about. So Kenya Kwanza government is majorly focused on the levy, the 3% levy housing. Instead, if they are genuine, watoe basi hiyo housing, tuangalizi zingine zipite. It is about the target of the hustlers.
All right, Mr. Enruche.